Here in the front row on the right.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoman. Mark, a little bit of a two-parter. First of all, 19 turnovers, I believe. Didn't feel like the team we've watched. How would you sort of characterize those turnovers? And then, I guess, where did you feel Indy gained the upper hand down the stretch?
I mean, the turnovers were uncharacteristic. Obviously, we're usually pretty clean there. I give them credit. I thought they played really well. They played with great energy. They were physical. They pressured. They sustained it for much of the 48. I thought we did some good things. I mean, we got off to a really good start and then got off to a really good start in the third. We really controlled the first and third quarters and had a really hard time in the second and the fourth. So we'll watch it. You know, it wasn't all bad, but we definitely have to play, our style and impose our will for more of the 48 minutes if we want to come on the road and get a win.
Second row on the left.
Mark. Daigneault, yeah. So seemed like a lot of switches tonight, and I know you guys are a switchable team, but it seemed like a lot of them didn't come with much resistance. Do you feel like that gave them a little too many good looks on their end?
I mean, we'll watch it. You know, every possession is different. You know, there's definitely possessions where I thought they were the aggressor, and we weren't, in the ball enough. And there were some possessions that were really good. I thought specifically to start the third quarter, our pressure and physicality was right where it needed to be. So we had a lot of good stretches of the game, but they had more good stretches than we did and outplayed us over the course of 48 minutes. And obviously we need to play better if we want to give ourselves a better chance in Game 4.
First row, Tim.
What do you see from your offense to keep your offense from get going in the fourth quarter, and specifically from Shea? Only got up 3 shots, didn't get any assists down the stretch in that quarter.
Yeah, I mean, they really outplayed us in the fourth. Give them credit. I thought we were in really good shape coming out of the third quarter. We had a 5-point lead and kind of weathered the storm of the second quarter. That was a rough quarter, and we were only down whatever we were at halftime, 4 or 6, and we got control of the game coming out of the third. And then in the fourth quarter, I just thought they really outplayed us on both ends. I thought they were in character in terms of their physicality, their pressure on defense, and then they were in character in terms of their pace on offense, and they just stacked way more, quality possessions in the fourth quarter than we did.
First row here on the right.
Mark Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Speaking of their defense, I know Shea's seen everything under the sun, but did you sense additional physicality with him, more double teams coming quicker? What did you see just what they did defensively with him tonight, and what do you have to adjust going into 4?
I didn't think they really changed their schemes very much. I just thought they were sharper, like I said, with the physicality and the pressure, and their physicality was stronger than our force in a lot of those possessions. Not all of them. Obviously we had really good stretches of the game, but not enough good stretches of the game to stack up to a win on the road.
Second row on the left.
Slater with the Athletic. You don't often see, a stolen inbound in the NBA, and I think McConnell got you at least 3 times for just catch layups. How inexcusable do you view those turnovers, and how much do you think that, snowballed?
I mean, those were big plays, obviously, but in terms of inexcusable, I mean, everybody's out there competing and trying, and I'm not going to place blame on those plays. I just thought their overall tone was better than ours for the majority of the game. Like I said, I thought we had some really good stretches, but we just made one too many mistakes and had one too many possessions on both ends of the floor where they were more, tied to their identity than we were. But obviously those are costly plays.
Second row middle.
Yeah, Barry Trammell told the world, they say role players play better at home. That's clearly the deal tonight. Mathurin outscores your whole bench. What can you do to reverse that trend, and what specifically was so difficult about Mathurin tonight?
Yeah, he was, he's had games like this in previous series. He seems to have a game like this in every series, and he's a talented player. He was really aggressive tonight. He did a great job. McConnell did a great job. Their bench really came in the game and was excellent. I thought that was had a lot to do with the second quarter, the start they got off to. I think it was like 15-4, and then the start of the fourth quarter as well. And I thought those guys were catalysts to that. So you tip your hat to them. Those guys played really well. They outplayed us. The team outplayed us tonight. We got to learn from it, and then try to go be a better team in Game 4.
Any other questions for Coach? Second row right there.
They seemed intentional on getting into the paint early and often. How much of a challenge was that for you guys, is to slow their offense down when they're that intentional?
I thought that just the pace of their offense was sharper than our pressure, physicality tonight. I thought that's just what it came down to. They get the ball ahead of us more easily tonight than they did in the first two games, and that led to a lot of the downstream effects of their offense, our defense tonight. So we'll look at it. We think we have some solutions, but we got to go out there and do it. But in the meantime, give them credit. They went and got that game. They outplayed us for the majority of the game, and they deserve to win.
Last two, right here in the front.
Mark, after you guys go down 8, you give yourself some opportunities, whether it was Alex's steal or just some different things, but really didn't capitalize. Is that just a microcosm of some of the bigger picture issues you saw, or was something happening late, just not being able to maybe close that gap a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when you're down 8 with that little time, your margin for error is really thin. So the solution to that, first solution to that, is don't be down 8 with 2.5 to go if you want to win. It's hard to win that game in that situation. We're always going to try to do everything we can to try to close a gap and put game pressure on the opponent. But they did a good job, holding us off down the stretch. I thought their execution, even late in the fourth quarter when they had a lead, was really, really strong, and they did a good job slamming the door on the game.
Last question, back on the right.
Hey, Coach. Leandro Sarra from ESPN Brazil. You guys had some missed free throws in the fourth. Do you feel like that played a big factor, and do you credit that to the maybe the inexperience of the players or the environment? What do you think about that?
I'm not, I don't really know, to be honest with you. Usually we're a pretty good free throw shooting team. We've been in a lot of environments, stepped up in a lot of situations. I have the utmost confidence in the team. But it was, one of those, I thought it was an uncharacteristic night in a lot of ways for us. So we got to learn from it and then tap back into, being who we are, in game 4. And if we do that, I think we'll have a much better chance to win.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you.